Lines by Robert Emmett. Written on the burying ground of Arbor Hill in Dublin, where the bodies of insurgents shot in 1798 were interred. No rising column marks this spot, where many a victim lies. But oh, the blood which here has streamed to heaven for justice cries. It claims it on the oppressor's head, who joys in human woe, who drinks the tears by misery shed, and mocks them as they flow. It claims it on the callous judge, whose hands in blood are dyed, who arms injustice with the sword, the balance throws aside. It claims it for his ruined isle, her wretched children's grave, where withered freedom droops her head, and man exists, a slave. O sacred justice, free this land from tyranny abhorred. Resume thy balance and thy seat, resume, but sheathe thy sword. No retribution should we seek. Too long has horror reigned. By mercy marked may freedom rise, by cruelty unstained. Nor shall a tyrant's ashes mix with those our martyred dead. This is the place where Aaron's sons, in Aaron's cause, have bled. And those who here are laid at rest, O hallowed be each name. Their memories are forever blessed, consigned to endless fame. Unconsecrated is this ground, unblessed by holy hands. No bell here tolls its solemn sound, no monument here stands. But here the patriot's tears are shed, the poor man's blessing given. These consecrate the virtuous dead. These waft their fame to heaven. Fairyland, by Peter Kearney. I wake to the thrush revealing his joy on a dewy morn, and soft through my window stealing the scent of the flowering thorn. I haste to share in the splendor of water and flower and tree, and up from my heart I render my praise, O my God, to thee. And little children straying over paths where their elders trod, their wondering eyes surveying the wonderful works of God. For the innocent hearts of childhood find God in every flower and tree, and I pray while I tread life's journey with the eyes of a child to see. Where beauty has birth and being, men call it Stephen's Green, and pass on their way unseeing, with the eyes of a child have seen. Their blindness but moves our pity, and now you will understand how here in the heart of a city I was born in Fairyland. Robert Emmett's speech in 1803. I have been charged with that importance in the emancipation of my country as to be considered the keystone of the combination of Irishmen, or, as your lordship expressed it, the life and blood of the conspiracy. You do me honor overmuch. You have given to the subaltern all the credit of a superior. There are men engaged in this conspiracy who are not only superior to me, but even to your own conceptions of yourself, my lord. Men before the splendor of whose genius and virtues I should bow with respectful deference, and who would think themselves disgraced by shaking your blood-stained hand. What, my lord, shall you tell me on the passage to the scaffold, which that tyranny, of which you are only the intermediary executioner, has erected for my murder, that I am accountable for all the blood that has and will be shed in this struggle of the oppressed against the oppressor? Shall you tell me this, and must I be so very a slave as not to repel it? I do not fear to approach the omnipotent judge to answer for the conduct of my whole life, and I am to be appalled and falsified by a mere remnant of mortality here? By you, too, although if it were possible to collect all the innocent blood that you have shed in your unhallowed ministry in one great reservoir, your lordship might swim in it. Here Lord Norbury told Mr. Emmett that his sentiments and language disgraced his family and his education, but more particularly his father, Dr. Emmett, who was a man, if alive, that would not countenance such opinions. To which Mr. Emmett replied, "If the spirits of the illustrious dead participate in the concerns and cares of those who are dear to them in this transitory life, ever dear and venerated shade of my departed father, look down with scrutiny upon the conduct of your suffering son, and see if I have even for a moment deviated from those principles of morality and patriotism which it was your care to instill in my youthful mind, and for which I am now about to offer up my life. My lords, you are impatient for the sacrifice. The blood which you seek is not congealed by the artificial terrors which surround your victims. It circulates warmly and unruffled through the channels which God created for noble purposes, but which you are now bent to destroy, for purposes so grievous that they cry to heaven. Be yet patient. I have but a few more words to say. I am going to my cold and silent grave. My lamp of life is nearly extinguished, my race is run. The grave opens to receive me, and I sink into its bosom. I have but one request to make at my departure from this world. It is the charity of its silence. Let no man write my epitaph, for as no man who knows my motives dare now vindicate them, let not prejudice or ignorance asperse them. Let them rest in obscurity and peace. Let my memory be left in oblivion, and my tomb remain uninscribed until other times and other men can do justice to my character. When my country takes her place among the nations of the earth, then, and not till then, let my epitaph be written. I have done. Robert Emmett, 1778 to 1803. These Friendly Irish, by William Makepeace Thackeray, 1811 to 1863. From the Irish Sketchbook. In a couple of hours' talk, an Englishman will give you his notions on trade, politics, and the crops, the last run with the hounds or the weather. It requires a long sitting, and a bottle of wine at the least, to induce him to laugh cordially or to speak unreservedly. And if you joke with him before you know him, he will assuredly set you down as a low, impertinent fellow. In 2 hours and over a pipe, a German will be quite ready to let loose the easy floodgates of his sentiment and confide to you many of the secrets of his soft heart. In 2 hours, a Frenchman will say 120 smart, witty, brilliant, false things, and will care for you as much then as he would if you saw him every day for 20 years. That is, not one single straw. And in 2 hours an Irishman will have allowed his jovial humor to unbutton, and gambled and frolicked to his heart's content. Which of these, putting Monsieur out of the question, will stand by his friend with the most constancy, and maintain his steady wish to serve him? That is a question which the Englishman, and I think with a little of his ordinary cool assumption, is disposed to decide in his own favor. But it is clear that for a stranger, the Irish ways are the most pleasantest, for here he is at once made happy and at home. A Telephone Operator, County Cork, by Robert Gibbings, 1889 to 1958, from Lovely Is the Lee. Even to get a call through on the telephone may entail a conversation. Hold on a while now, and I'll see if I can get him for you. I have an idea that he was away shooting for the weekend, but I'll see if I can get him. Isn't it a grand day? It is like summer. Another fortnight now and we'll be into spring. Tell me, who am I speaking to? Oh, to be sure, I know you well. I saw you the other night. Who's that? Said I to Paddy Riordan. You remember Paddy, he lived at the cross below you. Sure, that's Bob Gibbings, says he, the fellow who's writing a book about Cork. Hold on a while, I think you're through. You're not. I'm McIhern, lived at Carreen. You wouldn't remember me, but hold on a while. 'Tis wonderful weather. Did you see any widgeon when you were down at Imokilly? They tell me that the place is full of 'em. Oh, indeed, yes, I saw you getting onto the bus. There's a grand spot down there. Hold on a while, you're through. Goodbye now, and good luck. You're through. The Irish Problem Solved, by Jonathan Swift, 1667 to 1745, from A Modest Proposal. I have been assured by a very knowing American of my acquaintance in London that a young, healthy child, well nursed, is at a year old a most delicious, nourishing, and wholesome food, whether stewed, roasted, baked, or boiled, and I make no doubt that it will equally serve in a fricassee or ragout. I do therefore humbly offer it to public consideration that of the 120,000 children already computed, 20,000 may be reserved for breed, whereof only 1/4 part to be males, which is more than we allow to sheep, black cattle, or swine, and my reason is that these children are seldom the fruits of marriage, a circumstance not much regarded by our savages. Therefore 1 male will be sufficient to serve 4 females. That the remaining 100,000 may, at a year old, be offered in sale to the persons of quality and fortune through the kingdom, always advising the mother to let them suck plentifully in the last month, so as to render them plump and fat for a good table. A child will make 2 dishes at an entertainment for friends, and when the family dines alone, the fore or hind quarter will make a reasonable dish, and seasoned with a little pepper or salt, will be very good boiled on the 4th day, especially in winter. I have reckoned upon a medium that a child just born will weigh 12 pounds, and in a solar year, if tolerably nursed, increases to 28 pounds. I grant this food will be somewhat dear, and therefore very proper for landlords, who, as they have already devoured most of the parents, seem to have the best title to the children. Infant's flesh will be in season throughout the year, but more plentiful in March, and a little before and after, For we are told by a grave author and eminent French physician that fish being a prolific diet, there are more children born in Roman Catholic countries about 9 months after Lent than at any other season. Therefore, reckoning a year after Lent, the markets will be more glutted than usual, because the number of popish infants is at least 3 to 1 in this kingdom. And therefore it will have one other collateral advantage by lessening the number of papists among us. I have already computed the charge of nursing a beggar's child, in which list I reckon all cottagers, labourers, and 4/5 of the farmers, to be about 2 shillings per annum, rags included, and I believe no gentleman would repine to give 10 shillings for the carcass of a good fat child, which, as I have said, will make 4 dishes of excellent nutritive meat, when he hath only some particular friend or his own family to dine with him. Thus the squire will learn to be a good landlord, and grow popular among his tenants. The mother will have 8 shillings net profit and be fit for work till she produces another child. Those who are more thrifty, as I must confess the times require, may flay the carcass, the skin of which, artificially dressed, will make admirable gloves for ladies and summer boots for fine gentlemen. As to our city of Dublin, shambles may be appointed for this purpose in the most convenient parts of it, and butchers, we may be assured, will not be wanting, although I rather recommend buying the children alive and dressing them hot from the knife as we do roasting pigs. The Provisional Government of the Irish Republic to the People of Ireland, 1916. Irishmen and Irishwomen, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland, through us, summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organized and trained her manhood through her secret revolutionary organization, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and through her open military organizations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, having patiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal itself, she now seizes that moment and, supported by her exiled children in America and by gallant allies in Europe, but relying in her first on her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland, and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished the right, nor can it ever be extinguished except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation the Irish have asserted their right to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times during the past 300 years they have asserted it in arms. Standing on that fundamental right and again asserting it in arms in the face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state, and we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to and hereby claims the allegiance of every Irishman and Irishwoman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious to the differences carefully fostered by an alien government which have divided a minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have brought the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people of Ireland and elected by the suffrages of all men and women, the provisional government hereby constituted will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic in trust for the people. We place the cause of the Irish Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke upon our arms, and we pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonor it by cowardice, inhumanity, or rapine. In this supreme hour the Irish nation must, by its valor and discipline, and by the readiness of its children to sacrifice themselves for the common good, prove itself worthy of the august destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas J. Clark, Sean McDermott, P. H. Pierce, James Connolly, Thomas MacDonough, Eamon Kant, and Joseph Plunkett.